Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at audibletrial.com/spookshow. Then go over to morbidlybeautiful.com as we are now part of the Morbidly Beautiful Podcasting Network.
You see Santa Claus tonight? You better run, boy. You better run for your life.
But Mother Superior is Santa Claus.
Now I have another reason to hate Christmas.
Now that hell is full, I wonder where you will go.
The caller is in the house. The calls are coming from the house.
You're my family now.
But if you're bad boys and girls, your name goes in the bad boys and girls book, and I'll bring you something horrible.
Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus.
Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the All-American Spookshow podcast. I'm Josh, and I'm joined here with Tiana.
Hey.
And the Professor Smoke.
What's up?
And Donnie couldn't be with us, and neither could Will. So I guess maybe they were the lucky ones or not. I don't know. We'll decide as we go along here. It was my pick. So we have this new rotation where we have to do... We're still doing the new old rotation. If you're a long-time listener, that's always kind of what we've done when we talk about horror movies. We'll do a newer one and an older one. And the old line used to be 1999 back was old, 2000 to present was new. Well, now we've kind of split that up so we can get some really old ones and some really recent ones on there too. So like there's two categories of older where we've got vintage and then older. And that runs up till 1999. Then we've got newer and then recent. So that we're calling anything recent, anything that came out within the last 5 years. So it was my pick, and it had to be a Christmas horror movie. So the only one that I saw that piqued my interest on any level, that I had not seen any of these from the last 5 years, Christmas horror wise, was Black Christmas from 2019. So that's what I went with, and we'll see as this plays out whether that was worth the gamble or not, right? I have a feeling this is going to be one of those divisive type of movies, which I don't remember what the reception was back when this came out in 2019. I don't think it did very well. So after watching it, I guess we'll see whether that's going to be a surprise or not, right? When we get down to the nitty gritty of the numbers.
Yep.
But before we dive into it, I want to remind everybody to go to aaspookshow.com. That's the center of the Spook Show universe. From there, you can go listen to all of our past podcast archives. And you can also check out our YouTube channel over there, where every month we have series such as Grindhouse Gutter, Video Vortex, and Hammer Horror in order. Nice little, usually around 15 to 20 minutes, no longer long type videos with clips of the movies and everything that we play over there on YouTube. So that's always a fun thing that we do. And we also want you to join the fun over on patreon.com/aaspookshow, where every month we have some exclusive type stuff. We're still working. It's kind of under construction or under remodeling right now. We're going to be adding some new stuff, and we're taking away the old Crapster Piece Theater and stuff like that. So we encourage you to go over to patreon.com/aaspookshow and get in on the ground floor of some of that new content that we're going to have for patrons over there. So I guess without any further build-up, we'll go ahead and toss to the trailer for Black Christmas from 2019.
It's my privilege to teach you this semester. Enjoy your winter breaks and Merry Christmas.
What's up, ladies? Excited for tonight?
It is our last day of our last fall semester of college ever.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bells ring and jingle bells ring.
Can you take a photo of all of us?
Of course.
Where's Helena?
She was pounding vodka sodas earlier, but she looked really good.
Cheese.
We shouldn't have let her go back by herself. She's fine. Come on, live a little.
Across the air.
No, wait.
Helena hasn't gotten home yet.
If I were missing, I'd want you to unleash the bloodhounds and track me down. She was at DKO last night.
Still creating problems, huh, Rye?
Hello? Hello?
I'm worried that something bad happened.
It's winter break. Could just be a delay of some sort. Snow.
My friend is missing.
9 times out of 10, the girl's just with a boyfriend.
I will bring you to your knees.
200 years of history. Many sacrifices have been made to keep our traditions alive.
You're all insane. I'm tired of hiding. I'm tired of running. Go, 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 go!
Ho, 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 bitch. You messed with the wrong sisters.
All right, there's the trailer for that. So I guess I'll start with Tiana. Had you seen this? Did you go see this or watch this back in 2019?
No.
Smoke?
There was a reason why I did.
Smoke, I assume since she didn't see it, you didn't see it either, right?
No, because this was 29. No, and I didn't even know anything. I mean, I didn't read anything about it. I didn't see it based on the fact that it's just a remake of a remake at this point. Is what we're at the stage. We've even passed that stage. Pretty soon we'll be at the remake of a remake of a remake stage. So at that point, I'm just like, I've already checked out. I didn't know anything about this movie, and I didn't even want to know anything about it. I just subconsciously avoided it for a reason, I guess.
I hadn't seen it either until now, and like the only thing I remember about it at the time was I don't remember exactly when we watched the original Black Christmas in 1974, but I want to say it was around the time that this came out, roughly, right? Because we started doing this podcast in 2018. So I'm thinking it might have been 2019 when we watched the original. And I remember one of us commenting at the time, like, I don't know about that one, and that was about the extent of it at the time, and then it just kind of got brushed under the rug for the last 5 years. So, I mean, for me, this is the kind of movie I'm glad that we finally got around to, because it's almost, in my mind, it's almost like the Hellraiser movies. Like, look, you eventually got to watch it. Let's just fucking get this shit over with. It's like going to the dentist when you've got a toothache. Like, fuck, I know this ain't going to get better on its own. I better go to the dentist, like, so these are the kind that I like to pull out every now and then just to watch it. Let's see, because sometimes they'll surprise you. Most of the time you kind of know what to expect. And I think this, to me, falls in that category. Like, I kind of had the right feeling about this. Like, if you're just straight up judging the book by its cover, right? I think this kind of falls in that category. So I hadn't watched it either. So this was a fresh watch for all of us. And we'll get in, of course, like we always do, we get into our final thoughts and our star rating and everything at the end. But this one, like, there's not a lot of background here. I mean, it was directed by Sophia Takal, who most of our listeners and watchers, whatever, probably, you might remember her from doing one of the segments on the very first VHS. That's an anthology series all the way back in 2012. She also did Devil Town, Always Shine, and Green. I haven't really seen much of her work when I was kind of pouring through the filmography, so I can't really speak on her, and Lord knows, if this one's an example of it, then I don't know how much I may or may not enjoy some of her other work. But she was also one of the writers on this with April Wolfe and Roy Moore. By the way, it stars Imogene Poots, which has got to be one of the most hilarious names in Hollywood. Imogene Poots. Like, how the hell do you become anything? I guess it's a memorable name, right? Like, even if you don't necessarily remember the face maybe or whatever, like, you see that name, it's going to get stuck in your head, right? Like, oh, yeah, it's Imogene Poots again.
Did you imagine grade school?
Oh, God. Let's pray that that's like a stage name, like a clever stage name, and not her real name, because that poor girl growing up is, and your last name you really can't help. Like, say if you got a stupid first name, you can kind of blame your parents, but like your last name just kind of is what it is, and your last name is Poots. What the hell? There is the connection. Donnie's not here to give his connections from the crypt, but there is the obvious connection with Carrie Elwes, right? We've done Saw and some other stuff, it seems like, with him, so. That was, I know it's a small part in this movie, but, there is some horror DNA in there, right, with Carrie Elwes. Everybody else, though, is like more newer, up-and-coming actors and actresses, right? Like Elise Shannon as Chris, Lily Donahue as Marty, Brittany O'Grady as Jessie, the potential love interest there, Landon, that's played by Caleb Eberhardt. But Carrie Elwes is, other than, I guess, Imogene Poots, she's been in some other stuff. Carrie Elwes is about the only one that you've probably seen in other stuff, right? So this is a more recent movie, so you're not going to have a lot of connections in that. This movie was, I was going to say rated R, but it is not. And that's one of the biggest problems with this fucking movie, right? It's like, it is not rated R. It's rated PG-13. It comes in with a.
So I have.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say something about that. I found out that it was rated R in the beginning when they first started making it, and then they had test readings and they added it to be PG-13.
Who the hell did they test this in front of? They said, no, you need to.
I don't know.
you need to knock back the violence. It's a fucking horror movie.
And I heard they wanted it for younger audiences anyway.
Well, I would say overall that I guess you could argue whether that blew up in their face or not. I don't know. I mean, really, who measures the success, right? Because it was done for a budget of $5 million, and it did bring in the box office $18.5 million. So it did sell a little bit in the holiday season there, right? Because it came out December 13th of 2019 here in the U.S. So,
and that's another thing too. They announced it June 2019, and it came out in December. What?
Yeah, that's
Who makes a movie that quick?
Yeah, that's a hard turnaround.
Yeah. And you can tell
that opening weekend, it made $4.2 million. So we've got the top 10 in the box office. So let's go down it here, shall we? This was the weekend of December 13th through the 15th of 2019. So you're right in the heart of the Christmas season. Number 10, 21 Bridges. Number 9, Dark Waters. Number 8, A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. Dude, I mean, this is only 5 years ago. I've never heard any of these damn movies.
No, I mean, I think that A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood was at that Tom Hanks as Mr.
You know what?
Rogers?
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
I never saw it, but just The Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, of course, made me think of that.
Yeah,
So
I think
that's the only one I even recognize on there, as far as by name, at least.
Here's one that I've not heard of. Number 7, Queen and Slim. You got me. I don't know.
Nope.
Number 6, I've heard of this one, have not seen it. That was Ford v Ferrari.
Oh yeah, we did see that one. That was good. Ford versus Ferrari. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Coming in at number 5 in its debut weekend, Black Christmas, like I said, with $4.2 million, and then another debut that weekend at number 4, Richard Jewell, made $4.7. Now that's the Atlanta bombing guy, right? Wasn't that Richard Jewell? The movie about that?
Was it
the Olympic bombing? That could be something like that. I know it has something to do with the bomber. I think it was the Olympic bombing movie. Richard Jewell. Number 3, this one was pretty good. Knives Out. That was the one that.
Yeah, we saw that.
Yeah, that
I didn't completely saw.
Yeah, that most of these other ones here may or may not have. Number 2, and it's still raking in its 4th week. Frozen 2. At that point, it had made. Yeah, Frozen 2. That was out for, I guess, right after the Thanksgiving holiday when that came out. So that had made almost $400 million by this point. So that was the big dog. But it was not number 1. Number 1 in the box office in its huge opening weekend. I mean, like, it smoked Frozen 2. Huge number 1. Jumanji: The Next Level.
I've still never seen that one.
I haven't watched any of them.
Yeah, I mean,
not any of them. We haven't watched that one.
It opened up December that weekend in December to $59.2 million. And went on.
That was the second one.
Well, I mean, the remakes we haven't watched.
Yes, this was like this. Obviously, you got the original Jumanji, right, with Robin Williams. This is like the second.
That's the only one I've ever seen. Is the original Jumanji.
Yeah, but then there's 2 remakes.
Yeah, however many.
This was, I believe, I think the second one of that.
Sequel to the remake or something like that.
Yes, yeah.
Sequel to the remake.
Yeah, that's
my God.
Yeah,
I hate modernity. Anyways, continue.
Jumanji: The Next Level. By the way, Smoke, you'll love this. It went on to gross $800 million worldwide. So if you wonder why, why, there's your fucking answer.
And that was the sequel to the remake that made that.
Yes, because that other one, I think it did killer. I'm not looking up the numbers, but that other one did a shit ton of money. That first remake.
People, I mean, no.
If you've never seen any of those, not to go and make this the Jumanji podcast, because I'm sure at some point we'll get around to it in some form, but that one, they are sequels. They're not remakes necessarily. They are sequels.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there is a connection to the Robin Williams one there. Like,
okay.
It's like a modern, I hate to say modern, but like I only say modern because remember in Jumanji it's a board game. When this was in that one it's a video game. So they just got the Jumanji, whatever the fuck Jumanji is, just made it into a video game, and now, you know, but it does connect. Yeah. Anyways, anything to talk about, anything other than Black Christmas. This has been your Jumanji minute. But yes, I mean, I like I said, I don't know, you know, what kind of measure of success there would be. I mean, but, you know, I mean, it did make a little bit of money. Now, it probably ended up at best breaking even, knowing, like the money they had to put behind the PR and everything. Like, yeah, all that type of stuff. So who knows? But it didn't take it long to come out on DVD and Blu-ray either. Like, this was released in theaters that December, and by March, like the beginning of March, it was already on DVD and Blu-ray. Oh, by the way, it did come out on Friday the 13th. That December 13th that year was a Friday the 13th.
All those people at the movie seeing it on that day were certainly unlucky. Unlucky.
Well, I mean, it only opened up to 4 million, so there was a fair amount of people, but not a massive amount of people. Like I said, all I remember was like people kind of being meh about it at best, and then it just kind of went away. So I had almost zero expectations coming into this, and I think after watching it, I was probably about right.
Yeah, because like I said, we never looked at it. Well, I never looked at anything as far as what this movie was about, review wise, and all that stuff until we watched it recently. And then we kind of went just to see what people were saying about it. Checking out the IMDb rating, checking out the Rotten Tomatoes rating, checking out YouTubers. There wasn't one. We didn't see one single positive review. Looking through those reviewers that YouTube reviewers that the types that do these types of movies, horror movies, that were doing it in 2019.
This is one of those ones where you're like, and we'll get into it when we're giving our ratings and stuff at the end. But like, this is one of those ones where it's like, who the fuck is this for? Like. And look, and I think this is maybe a moment to talk about this. Calling this Black Christmas did not do this any favors.
No.
Because if you're trying to appeal to the true horror fans like us, what are you going to think of when it's called Black Christmas? Right? You're going to think of that original classic, and maybe the younger crowd might even think of the one from 2006, so like something that fared a little better even than this one did. So you did it a disservice right from the get-go, calling it that. They should have called this like Frat Boy Christmas or Sorority House Suck Christmas or something. I don't know, like something like, Obvious Killer Christmas or something.
Bum House, freaking.
Yeah, well, then there's
name for cashing in for the money.
Yeah, then there's that. There's that Blumhouse thing.
Well, yeah, the name. Yeah, they did definitely do that. Take the name and then hope that they can make some money off the name.
Who do you?
But I don't know whose idea it was to hire these people, the writers, and go the direction the movie went. And like you said, turn away most horror fans that were fans of the original. Either you're going to be preaching to them that the way they see things is wrong at best, or at worst, they're just going to absolutely hate your movie because it's. You're taking the name Black Christmas and
it's shitting on something. Let's face it, it's shitting on something that is beloved. Yeah. Right?
At any rate, any of those old school people are going to feel like they're being preached to about all the stuff that's in the movie that you can't ignore. You can't. This is a movie that you can't ignore those things because it's part of the plot. You can't ignore what's going on.
Well, they don't want you to. They don't want you to.
No, they don't want you to. They want it to be right up there involved with the whole storyline.
There is something to say too. When, we have the advantage of hindsight, and that now we're in 2024. About to be in 2025, and you look back. Now we can look back and say what was going on at that time, right? Like in this is late 2019. We're right. Weren't we right kind of in the heart of the Me Too movement, right? Like there was that stuff going on politically and socially. Yeah. You're right in the middle.
I think so, yeah. I forget when exactly that started.
I just remember that was around this time period, right? Give or take. So you got a lot of that going on, and there was about to be a lot of social and, civil unrest, not to go too far down that rabbit hole, but you're in the middle of it, and there was a lot more to come in 2020, and it was a rough time, right? But this is right before that. But I think you're kind of dead in the middle of that. So I think that's kind of what they were going for. Like, well, fuck it. Let's just play right into it. Right. Let's just be blatantly obvious with it. Not in the background, but not to its advantage. Right.
No. I don't, like I said, I don't think anybody, we just kind of like poked around to see if anybody does anybody give this a positive review at all?
Yeah, like even like the the YouTubers that have like a lot of followers and stuff, and
even they were kind of like ripping it. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, sometimes these other YouTubers that are more in tune with these modern movies will give some of them the benefit of the doubt and kind of like just go with the movie. What is it about? Can you put this aside and just judge it on its plot and on the characters and all that stuff. And nobody could do that with this movie. They tore it up. And like I said, nobody gave it a positive review that we saw. We look at all of them by any means.
Which, you know, I think for myself, I always try to do that. You know, I always try to put my own bullshit aside, you know, right, to judge it fairly on its merits or lack thereof, right? Like, that's what I always try to do. But then sometimes they just smack you right in the teeth. You know, we've done movies like this before where, you know, you're going to get that stuff. Like, what was that one disaster? That one disaster movie that we did that was similar. You know, where you know what they're trying to say. Don't look up.
During the disaster summer?
Yeah, no, Don't Look Up. Remember, like, there was some pretty
obvious. Yeah, that's right.
The one that you love, Smoke, the Purge election year, right?
The Purge
election. Purge election.
Yeah. Like, like, we've done ones like this before where it's, you know, it's very obvious it's either going to, like, to me, you're either going to be like, hell yeah, right on, sister, right on, brother, right? Or you're going to be like, man, what the fuck? You know, like, you're either going to love it or hate it. There's no in between. You're either going to be totally with their message or totally against their message, right? So, but maybe that's what, you know, I try to look at it like maybe that's what they were going for. They were like, well, if you don't like it, fuck you. You know, well, guess what?
I think that's definitely what the writers were going for. Right?
Yeah.
Definitely the writer.
Yeah. I think probably in particular, without doing all the homework of like the background of it and everything, Sophia Takal, because I mean, she wrote it and directed it, right? She was one of the writers and directed it. So
writer-director.
I think it's pretty obvious where she's
exactly
going.
what they were going to get. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know what Blumhouse. They just knew they had a hopefully a cash grab in their hand because they got that title Black Christmas that they could pull in other, you know, old school horror fans with. But and it did, I guess, pull them in. People that didn't want to know, you know, us. None of us here really want to know a whole lot about a movie before we go into it because we don't like getting stuff spoiled for us.
I try not
so
to
if you
watch
got
too many
horror fans like that,
we don't really watch trailers and all that.
Yeah,
I remember the trailer though when it first, you know, got announced and it came out. The trailer it did look similar to the original Black Christmas.
They put those parts in there.
And then when it came out, I did my research a little bit. So I was like,
oh yeah. I mean, nowadays I do. If it's a remake or something coming out, I am going to do a little bit of something. I'm going to do a little poking around.
Well, you know,
with this one, it's not a fan of Blumhouse, period.
With this one, like, I'm trying to think, what are they trying to, like, as far as the connections to the first Black Christmas? The only things I can think of, there was the one scene where the dude puts a bag over the girl, she puts a bag over her dude's head, right? So, okay, there's that. And then the title, like the title card.
Yeah. And then they were in the sorority house.
Just the fact that that could be anything. A female sorority house, yeah. Well, all sorority houses.
And then there's like little tiny, very, very tiny things, like when the girl's looking for the cat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the room, that reminds me of that scare scene they tried to pull, was ripped completely off of Exorcist 3.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. It was a shot-for-shot remake of the scare scene from Exorcist 3.
Yeah.
The scene of the guy coming out of the room or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was also the icicle killing, which kind of was reminiscent of the unicorn horn killing, I guess, somewhat.
But that was like kind of pointless in the beginning.
Yeah.
It was just like, what? And then they don't even say anything about that girl, do they?
No, it's just no. There is. There's some allusion to not all they say is that she's missing. I don't think they ever discover a body or anything like that. I think, but later on you realize there's a connection because it's not just that one sorority house, right? There's like 3 or 4 sorority houses that are being targeted, and hers was one of them. The girl from the very beginning. So that.
And then she did a snow angel as she was getting killed. That was interesting. Right?
Yeah, that was pretty good. I mean, but there's little things that you have to look for in a movie like this, right?
It's intermission time. Time to pause and refresh at the snack bar. During this short break, you can treat your taste of good food and sparkling cold beverages, including delicious Coca-Cola. If you're hot dog hungry, we have them. Sizzling, juicy hot dogs served in warm, oven-fresh buns. Plus a complete menu of all your favorites. Visit the refreshment center now. Enjoy delicious food and ice-cold Coca-Cola.
For you listeners of the All-American Spook Show podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. So I hopped on over to audible.com, and I didn't get anything in particular coming up for Black Christmas, but I just typed in Christmas horror to see what would pop up, and of course we've got tons of results on that one. Krampus, the Yule Lord by Brom. That one's over 16 hours long, so honestly, a lot of these books will probably be better than the movie that we are here to talk about today. What is this? A Christmas Blizzard by Garrison Kaler. That one's just under 5 hours long. So, of course, we can't let the holiday season go by, since this is our last taste of Christmas this year, without mentioning the Charles Dickens classic, A Christmas Carol. This one in particular is narrated by Derek Miller, and it's just over 3 hours long. So if you're looking for any last-minute books or audio books, go head on over to audibletrial.com/spookshow. Again, that's audibletrial.com/spookshow for your free audio book. So I would highly recommend listening this time of year, listening to A Christmas Carol over on Audible, because that would be a good last-minute little listen/read right before Christmas, right?
Yeah. Hell, true. One of the traditions that people don't really think about is, and we hold it here, and all horror fans do. You know, Christmas. One of the traditions is ghost stories and that horror element at Christmas time.
Absolutely.
It used to be even more, though. You know, not just Charles Dickens, but there was a whole bunch of ghost stories related to around Christmas time. So we at the Spook Show definitely keep that tradition by doing a lot of Christmas horror.
Absolutely. All right, so now we'll hop back on over to imdb.com and click on plot summaries to see if they've got any help explaining this one to us. Not that it's going to make it any better, but it can explain it, right? All right, we've got a group of female students is stalked by a stranger during their Christmas break. That is until the young sorority pledges discover that the killer is part of an underground college conspiracy. I mean, just that right there, those two sentences kind of spoil the damn thing.
Yeah.
And that's like the main description of the synopsis on IMDb too. That's not like a deep one that I had to dig around. That's like the main synopsis. By the way, that might be a good time to mention, we are a spoiler-filled podcast. So if you have not seen this version of Black Christmas and you want to, hit pause, go check it out, and come back and listen to the rest of this. The next one is Hawthorne College is quieting down for the holidays. One by one, sorority girls on campus are being killed by an unknown stalker. But the killer is about to discover that this generation's young women aren't willing to become hapless victims as they mount a fight to the finish. Something like that. Then the last one, I'll go ahead and, since it's about as long as that one is, I'll go ahead and read it. This one was submitted by Grants on IMDb. The women of a female sorority stage a Christmas performance with a difference, hitting out at the predatory culture of the male sororities. When they start getting threatening texts, they figure it is from men. What? They figure it is from men from these sororities, but soon, which men aren't in sororities, they're in frats, whatever. But soon the threats turn to violence. The perpetrators seem more sinister than disgruntled men. So there you go. So that's as well as you can describe what's going on here, right? Like essentially, like the main character, played by our favorite actress Imogene Poots. Her name is Riley, and like essentially, like a few years prior to the events of this movie, she is raped by the guy that's like the president of this particular frat, right? So they stage this like a singing performance, and they just basically kind of out him and everybody else for their rapey ways, right? And then of course these guys don't like that, so basically the rest of the movie is kind of them taking it out on the sorority and all the other sororities for this, right? Like they take revenge in different ways, and you eventually come to the point where they're killing people, right? Like left and right. Nice. But I think this is one of those ones where you're not going to go blow by blow. So I think you just kind of fast forward to the end in this movie, in my opinion, because that's where the talking points are. This is so much different from the story of Black Christmas, like the original Black Christmas, where like that one is like, there's a killer in the house, right? And your traditional slasher flick. Someone is attacking these girls in a sorority and taking them out one by one. And then it ends the way it ends. And I don't want to give the spoilers for that one because you need to see that movie to see how that movie ends. This one ends in a way where there's like, it's not Black Christmas in the sense of it's a slasher. I mean, it is a slasher, but like there's a slasher where there's a killer and then there's taken out and then, right? This one is like, it's black because there's black magic, right?
Yeah.
That's the clever twist. There's black magic. And
they give away the supernatural element in the beginning with a quote. I don't know if you remember the quote at the beginning from Hawthorne, the guy that started the college or whatever. It had something about supernatural, something in the quote. Yeah. I forget exactly what the quote is, but it specifically mentions something about the supernatural in the Hawthorne quote. And then that's what happened. Sorry.
Yeah, but that was lame as hell to me. I mean, this whole movie is lame as hell, right? Because let's start. Tiana, you wanted to mention something about it earlier. Let's start with the PG-13 thing, right? Like, that does this no favors at all.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but I guess they started out with it being rated R, so I guess they showed the kills a lot more than they do in this one because they show people getting killed, but that's it.
I wonder if it was it written that way?
Nothing.
I wonder if it was written that probably wasn't filmed. It probably never got to the actual filming stage. I would assume there would be an unrated cut that came out if there was.
I don't know, because I heard that it was rated R. They did test screenings, and then that's when they decided to make it PG-13.
But one thing, if that's the case, and that's the truth, one thing I hate in this world today, and there's no reason nor excuse for it, if you shoot a movie and you shoot scenes that were excised from the movie, there's no reason why you shouldn't go back out and then put out an unrated version of that movie later. You know, the people that want the original version is there on the same disc if you want, whatever. Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, they shot it and they just didn't release that version. Why?
Even if you turn,
maybe it would actually.
Even if you turn away from the critical eye, like, well, I'd like to see that version of it. Let's just put that to the side for a second. Wouldn't there be money in it? Right?
Yeah.
Like, even if you didn't care about the critical side of it, wouldn't they probably sell a few more DVDs or Blu-rays if they just put unrated cut on there?
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, because I can see them trying to sell it to a younger audience and get a PG-13 in the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it comes to releasing it on DVD or Blu-ray or streaming or whatever service, without the unrated cut, there's no point in it being PG-13 at that point if you have another cut.
These movie companies, for the most part, figured that shit out by, what, 2000, 2001? Yeah. Like, they started, everything was released unrated. It's the version you couldn't see in theaters. You know, like, every DVD said that. So just do that.
Even to the point where the stuff that was unrated and put back in the movie, you're like, why is this unrated? You know, like, it's like they were using it as a marketing thing.
Yeah.
They would specifically shoot some scenes so they could come out with an unrated version later or something.
And now these companies make it even worse. Like, they bring out everything just Blu-ray, and then they'll just sit on it for months now. And then they'll be like, oh, here's the 4K, director's cut.
Yeah, didn't they do that with last year or within the past year for Thanksgiving? Wasn't there like there's some cheap ass Blu-ray that came out and then eventually they came out with the
Yep, the Steelbook freaking.
Yeah, I guess they're smart.
Although really,
unfortunately, by and large, they're smarter than us. Like, they know that timed release type thing or that thing where, like, well, we're going to give you a little bit, and they know certain people will double dip. They know that.
Yeah.
They know that.
See, that's been going on at least, I mean, it's probably before, but at least since the Lord of the Rings, I remember, and probably Star Wars remake. I mean, not the remake, the Star Wars.
I think Star Wars.
Lucas, Star Wars.
Yeah, I think Star Wars started that shit with George Lucas with the special editions, and then
the special editions. Yeah.
I think,
and not to mention, even the cult type stuff dipped into that too, doing that. Which Anchor Bay, whenever they would bring out how many umpteen billion different Army of Darkness and Evil Dead sets, limited edition sets with this and that. I mean, so even all the companies did it, big budget to the smaller.
What was the name of that run in the early 2000s of the William Castle remakes that we always talk about?
13 Ghosts. Dark Castle Productions, but 13
whatever
Ghosts
that was called. Like, honestly, if you think about it, we probably have some of them to blame for what Blumhouse does today.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right,
because they started that remake thing too, and
they're kind of doing the same. They're kind of doing the same bullshit. Like, 25 years ago, we didn't like that shit. Now you kind of look back at it like, well, with a more critical eye, maybe it's all right. But now Blumhouse is doing the same thing, right? They're making some shitty remakes. Say what you will about, like, say at least that first Halloween remake was pretty good, but the other ones, meh, like, there was a law of diminishing returns on those things, but that's Blumhouse.
Oh, yeah.
That Exorcist abortion a couple years ago. Right, like, there's example after example, and then even the other ones, just Blumhouse in general, man. I don't know, because
they know they've got this meat grinder thing of just throw the shit in there, and whatever comes out at the end, it's going to probably make some money, and they'll just ride that out until it doesn't make money anymore, I guess. And then another company will come along and they'll put out some good shit that drags people into it, and then they'll start doing the same thing, and it seems to be the case, right? Right, make a movie that draws people in and makes some money, and then fall off the wagon and not be able to come up with too much, creative stuff that's that great anymore until till the wheels fall off of it. And then...
Well, that's the thing too.
On to
like,
some other.
You know, like occasionally they'll be even their original stuff isn't all that good. You know, like
yeah,
it might make a good amount of money, and I guess that's at the end of the day, I guess that's what it's all about. But
yeah,
like Megan, right? Like that movie was not good, but it made a ton of money, and they're going to make another one, and
yep.
I mean, can't blame them if you're just in it for that, and obviously that's the name of the game. But I don't know. There has to be something said for like the shit. Make it rewatchable, make it entertaining, make it quality, and then I think you'll make even more money. That's just my opinion. Like, yeah,
I mean,
you're limiting yourself.
It's the way we used to make movies. People are like, "Oh, in my day," and all that, but it's not about that. I mean, there might be a little bit of that. Keep off my lawn or whatever.
Yeah.
But not really. I mean, movies were made much better then, and they were made to make money and to entertain and as an artistic endeavor. Like you take something like Scarface or even any of those types of movies where it's got the pop thing to pull you in. It's got the music and it's got these scenes or whatever they're going to draw you in, but it's also got great acting. It's got a great storyline. It doesn't try to hit you over the head with anything too deep or heavy or whatever. And there's movies for that, outside of Hollywood generally. It used to be art house. If you wanted movies with super deep messaging, then you kind of go to the art house spectrum, right?
Yeah.
Now they put all this stuff into the Hollywood movies, and then it's really divisive.
Yeah. And then you look at it like something we talked about 2 weeks ago, like Gremlins, where like that movie came out 40 years ago and it still looks great, still holds up.
Yeah.
Right. And then, movies not all movies today, right? There's always good ones, but, by and large, they're not going to hold up 40 years from now. I find it very hard to believe that 40 years from now, somebody's going to say, that Black Christmas in 2019, that was one of my favorite movies of all time. Right?
Yeah.
That's quality.
I don't
cinema.
even see them doing what we do. I mean, I think you too. I know I do. Is like we talked about the Dark Castle movies. I used to hate those 13 Ghost movies and all, and House on a Haunted Hill. I didn't like them, and then fast forward to now when we're doing the show, and some of them I hadn't seen before, and some of them we're revisiting again. Our heads and tails above what's coming out now, but I don't see that being the case down the road where we're saying. I mean, I certainly hope not. I don't know how far down you could degenerate to where you're looking back at 2019 Black Christmas saying, "Damn, that was a fucking masterpiece compared to this shit coming out in 2030."
I don't know, man. That hole can get pretty deep. I don't know.
I don't know.
Only time,
at that point, I'm done. I'm giving up. I'm giving up new shit altogether by that point. I'm probably dead by that point. But
No.
Thankfully, dead.
No, unfortunately for you, Smoke, you're going to live forever, and we're going to be talking about these movies forever.
That'll be my. If there's a whatever people believe. Let's just say, for instance, there's a Christian hell, and you go to it. That'll be my hell. Is watching movies like this. I'll just be in a room with like the Clockwork Orange device on my eyes.
Yeah, making you
watching shit like this for eternity.
Black Christmas and the Purge election year on loop. Help! God Almighty, why did I like so much bad cinema that I'm being tortured with this forever and ever? Like by and large though, like that's what this movie's about. And like the problem with that, honestly, I have a lot of problems with the movie, but I think the main problem I have with the movie is that like when it almost goes to entertaining, they pull back. Like, oh, a killing's about to happen. No, you're not going to see it. Oh, they're about to say some clever cuss word. Nope, you didn't fucking hear it. They didn't say it. Like you can clearly tell that like editing and everything just wrenched the whatever juice this fucking thing might have had. It just wrung it dry.
They're like, oh, you thought you were about to watch a movie? Nope. Back to the message.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They cut out a bunch of shit about killing and cussing and everything, but boy, they didn't cut out the messaging. You're right.
No.
And then the scene where the two girls are like in the car and like she knows what's going on and she's trying to tell the other girl. She basically tells her the whole damn movie.
Oh yeah, she summarizes the entire movie after that point.
Yeah.
Why? Like, do they need to kill some time here, or do they think people are just that dull that they missed all that? I guess
they're that fucking stupid. Yes, absolutely. I think that's what they. I think that's what they felt. Well, I mean, what you just said, would that surprise you at all if they thought the audience was that fucking stupid because they're trying to hammer their point so hard? Men are bad, women are great. Yeah, like they're trying to hammer that thing into your skull so hard that like all the other shit, like, well, we got to explain it. We got to go full Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 on your ass here.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Although that's a much better movie, and I'd rather watch that over and over
I
again.
agree, but you get the point. Yeah, where we're just laying out the whole movie, even though I just watched the fucking movie. I don't need you to explain it to me. God damn it. Well, this wasn't made for intelligent audiences, obviously. So
no,
I'm all for a good message too. But like, man, I don't like the heavy message too, right? Like whether you agree or disagree with the message, whatever that message is, right? Like, I don't like it when you're just fucking rotten fish tail slapping me in the face with it. All right, we get it. The whole movie, men are assholes. Knock it off. They're just gonna keep smacking you with it. We get it. We're assholes.
So, I think I heard a alternate title for this was the She-Woman Man-Hating Club versus Toxic Masculinity or something.
Wasn't that like in
Darla's She-Woman Man-Hating?
Wasn't that in like Married with Children or something? He-Man, Woman Hating?
No, it was the Little Rascals. The
okay.
He-Man, Woman Hating.
Yeah.
It was a Little Rascal.
Yeah. And that,
Spanky's Club or something.
I think like that was the other thing too. Like if it was one thing where they're just like, oh, these guys are just a bunch of assholes, I can almost get behind that more than I could the black magic thing. Like,
yeah,
they're not assholes on purpose. They're being hypnotized or possessed by some demon or whatever the fuck into doing these things. They're not assholes willingly. They're accidental assholes, but they still burn for it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See, that ending scene is like, okay, you have your plot device is that you have this teacher or whatever. He's the guy who's kind of like controlling them now. He's got the ink of whatever this possessed ink inside the statue's bust of Hawthorne is, right?
Yeah, wait. Before we continue, do you think they would never call that blood because of the PG-13 thing? Like, to me, it was like, that's blood, but then they're like, no, it's black gunk. It's black tar. They never say what it is.
Again, the stupid writing of this, like, why couldn't you turn it into this thing of like, if you really wanted to put a message, see, but they're not about subtlety or about subversive things, but you could say something about the ink. The history is written in the ink of whatever kind of whatever bullshit message you want to give to it, right?
Yeah, or you could just say this dude dabbled in the dark arts, so right before he died, he filled his blood into this fucking bust, right? Like, you could just say it's his blood, but they never say that.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like I said, if you want it to be blood, you do that. I would think that you could still do that in a PG-13. I mean, it's not like you're showing, it's just blood that's inside of something, not like coming out of somebody, like slashing them and the blood's coming out. But like I said, like I was saying, even if it wanted to be ink, you could put that subversive message in there. Like I was saying, I don't believe in this because I think it's bullshit. But like you could say, like I was saying, the history of the world is written in the ink of whatever, whatever kind of messing stuff you want to put in there. That would be some kind of subversive thing you could add to it. Like, oh shit, that's some heavy shit for not for me, but these people that get behind the message of this movie. Maybe they would appreciate it. Maybe they don't appreciate subtlety at all, and they want to be hammered over the head with everything. So, I don't know, but whatever the case, they missed an opportunity there with the bust, with the stuff that's in it. Whether they turned it into blood or like I said, the ink thing. But yeah, it was controlling those people, and then whenever the control is broken, when she breaks the bust and all the black gunk stuff goes out on the floor, and supposedly that breaks the spell that's been over some of the men in the fraternity. Then she still doesn't care though. They still all lock them in there and like let them all burn to death, except one guy gets out. The one guy who was nice to them sort of earlier in the movie, even though he got kind of caught up in the thing.
They put the tar or whatever the shit on his forehead, and then he became one of them briefly. But so I guess he was redeemable enough. Get out. Yeah.
But everybody else who had the thing on their head, I guess they're like, well, he talked to us and we knew him a little bit. So who knows if any of these other assholes were still just toxic males, even without the link of
the one girl, Helena, who was like the stooge, right? Like she's in on the gag for the guys. Like she's not. They didn't put that shit on her head, right? She's just like, oh, I see my place. Like she's totally cool with being subservient, kind of thing, right? I guess is the whole.
Well, there's a lot of deeper things. Like we don't really go into that all here, but the only thing I can say about that is they wanted to show this is a female who's traditional, who is, but to them it's like she's subservient to the man. So they're showing that any female subservient to a man is not, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be, it's just a feminist messaging or whatever.
Yeah.
I guess it's very not that deep, but it's there that you can see that's what that character was there for, is to show you that this isn't the way. You need to be part of the she-woman man-hating club. You know,
you got to be part of the feminist movement.
Yes, yeah. I mean, to me, that's where I see that character as, and that's all they are there for. That girl, she didn't need the ink stuff to turn her into one, because they're saying that she already has been brainwashed to be thinking that, anyways.
Well, I will say that she did serve some purpose, and I'll reference that here in just a few minutes when we're wrapping this thing up. I mean, was there anything else y'all wanted to point out about this? I mean, like some of the kills that might have been cool are not even here, right? Like
Nope.
You see the girl at the beginning get stabbed with the icicle, but you know it's kind of lame,
sort of.
Right?
Yeah, it's lame. I mean, you don't see. I mean, that's just they should have. I know why they didn't, because they're trying to make more money with a PG-13. But at least that would have been something else to look at, something to divert your attention.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up when you break off an icicle and stab somebody in the gut with it. That should be generally seen as pretty fucked up, and we'd like to see that in a horror movie. But no, we kind of.
I think they know they like to see. I think they know that the people. It's almost like the whole Star Wars thing, and whether you believe whatever's going on with that they're purposefully doing things to these characters to piss off the original fans, right? It's almost like some of that is the case in this movie too.
It's like, fuck your movie. Well, damn, what did I do to piss you off?
I know.
I'm just trying to enjoy a good movie here.
This is what you expect. You expect a bloody slasher film with a final girl, maybe, or with the girls running around getting killed. You know, they're kind of trying to push back against what they see as misogyny, I guess, you know, in these 80s, especially in slasher. You know, slasher films have always kind of had this morality of like, you have sex and die.
Yeah.
You know, there's a certain morality built in. It's almost like a conservative morality built into slasher movies.
We didn't even get that. We
didn't
even get like the sex, you know, people die because
they definitely want to put that in there.
No, we didn't even get that.
No.
By the way, I don't know if y'all stuck.
You're being raped.
Rape.
You're right. Yeah, there's that. Yeah. I don't know if y'all stuck around after thank God they burned the house down and the end come up, but there was a little bit of a cut scene in there if you saw it in the mid credits.
Yeah, it was running. I just let it go. The movie ended, and then I was in here doing stuff with it, playing in the background, and I heard something like the music stopped. And I looked up, and it was the cat going over there licking the ink or whatever it was.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what it was licking. I assume it was that. But,
ink.
Yeah,
but it's not even ink. They don't say what the shit.
No, it's blood or ink or whatever the fuck. Yeah, the cat's licking, and then it kind of looks up at the camera at the end. But
yeah,
so I guess now there's a possessed cat running around with the.
Was it a male cat or a female cat?
That does make a difference. You're right. I didn't think about it. So yeah, that's an appropriate ending to that damn movie. Let's just see a cat licking this undescribable blood, ink, tar, or whatever the fuck. The end. God forbid they'd ever want to continue that mystery into another movie.
Also at the end, though, did you notice how it kind of turned into? I don't remember if the Avengers had ever come out at this point, but I mean there was plenty of Marvel. It turned into a mini Marvel action movie.
Yeah,
when the girls, the sorority came in there at the end, and they were fighting
It's like the Avengers assemble.
The bow and everything.
Yeah, the sorority sisters assemble, and then they just come in there.
She even had a one-liner thing that was like, I don't remember. Was it something about the sisters? About don't fuck with the sisters, or the sisters are here now. Whatever it was like some kind of one-liner action thing in there. All of a sudden, like what the hell?
Yeah,
this is going out.
We had to have the big, I guess, the feminist Avengers movie. You know, like, hey, fuck, we're gonna kill all these dudes because they're dudes. Get them, you know. Because most of them at this point, out of all these sororities, have not. Maybe I guess by that point, most of them have been accosted in some way, but some of them probably hadn't been roughed up physically. Most of them have probably just had some disturbing texts sent to them. Then they're all just like, let's all go get them, fuck them up. They sent me a messed up DM.
Yeah, that's the other modern thing about the movie is, the original Black Christmas, you had I'm surprised that they didn't do that, because they could have made men even be more slimy, if you want, by having an actual person's voice saying the things kind of like in the first movie.
Oh, did you? You just reminded me. There was that one scene in the movie where she gets a phone call and it sounds like, and then it's like, hello, and then it's just garbled like, oh, I was just trying to reach you. It was just somebody's
somebody's
global
like
digitizing.
Yeah, that wobbly sound of their service being dropped and picked back up.
So we didn't. So that was the one nod to the. That was another nod we forgot to the original movie with the guy calling.
Yeah.
You're in the house. Just saying vile shit. But that was as close as we got, and even that was just like a joke. Yeah. Like I said, I think I can wrap this up by saying they just said "fuck your movie." That's what they said. You like that old movie? Fuck that. Fuck your movie. So I guess I'll get started since I'm the one that brought it to the table. I didn't like this. I didn't like this at all. If it had a little bit more gore, some actual gore and something right. If this was rated R, I'm not saying I would have got with the message, but there would have been something to hold on to where I'd be like, you know what? There's some redeeming qualities, but they sucked that out of it. So not only did it,
I could be sitting here talking about how it was, we always talk about don't make the mistake of having a boring movie. At least, if it's a horror movie, throw some good kills in there.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, oh God, I mean, it's a hard one to grade because, just comparing it to some of the other shit that we've watched over the years. Oh man, I tell you what, I'm going to go and I think this is one I'm going to revisit when we have our moment next year when I have time to think about it a little bit more. But for now, I'm going to give it like half a star. I mean, I didn't like it. It bangs you over the head with a message that, whether you agree or disagree with it doesn't matter. It's about the fact that I have to prove my point so much that I'm just going to slap you about the face and ears, whether you like it or not. Whether I'm for or against the message doesn't matter, and then you made it disinteresting as hell with taking out the cursing and the violence or, there's still violence, but the gore, they sucked that out of it. So yeah, it's just got little to no redeeming qualities other than Cary Elwes is fine in it, in the little bit that he's in it. And, the acting just sucks. Overall, the acting just sucks hard in this movie. I don't think anybody brought their A game, right? Even as Imogene Poots, I guess it's about as good as it gets. And even that sucks. So yeah, half a star. That's what I say. So, Tiana, what do you say?
There was a reason why I didn't want to watch this because I found out that, it had the cult thing because I think I did see a trailer later and then I realized they pretty much gave shit away in the trailer and who the killers were and all. And that was, this cult or whatever that the professor had. So I knew what I was getting into, but man, actually watching it, wow, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Very horrible. I don't even know why it was made. I don't know.
Oh, you know why it was made.
They wanted to make money.
I don't know why they had to check that name.
They made more than what they, should have, but I'm giving it a 0. It's my first 0.
Yeah.
And I don't really give any movie 0.
Well, we've never had a 0 until a couple weeks ago when we did that bonus episode of Christmas Cruelty, and Donnie gave it a 0. So that was the first official 0 from anybody. Was Christmas
Cruelty, so. The good old days of Christmas Cruelty. I wish we.
Go
back and watch that 3 or 4 more times.
The bygone era of Christmas Cruelty. Now, ooh, God damn! I don't know which one I hated worse, to be honest with you. That's a tough one. At least that one has gore. But anyways, I won't go off. I won't go off on that tangent. Smoke, we'll let you have a final word in your rating.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be much surprise that I didn't like this movie, but on any level, But like you said, at least they could have thrown some R-rated version in there to have something else to look at, But
that'd be the only way I would ever watch this again. Is you got a truly, completely unrated cut, and I got nothing better to do, right? Maybe because I watched the quote unquote unrated cut of Megan too because I was like, God damn, that movie sucked. Surely there's got to be better in the No, it wasn't. So that was on me, but I'm just saying I would give it another chance, if they did, but I doubt they ever will. So,
yep. Well, that was kind of proving my point earlier about the Megan, saying how they released it regular and then, here's an uncut.
Yeah.
But it wasn't much to it, right? There wasn't there was some massive amount of gore.
There was a little bit more it maybe they added a couple cuss words in and a little bit more blood. That was about it. I wouldn't see where that would have gotten anything worse than an R for,
Yeah,
it didn't
that
make
kind of thing. It makes me just think that they did that on purpose. It's like we're gonna trim a little bit out.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it a little bit gory, just to trim it out so we can release it unrated later. But anyways, back to this, I guess. Yeah, it was straight up not just the messaging, but the buzzwords too. Like you have the messaging, and then you have the actual buzzwords that you hear all the time that are like cringe to me. Yeah, I'm not going to even repeat all of them here, but just you hear it all the time on social media, at least, anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then to hear it repeated back in a movie is like, wow.
Yeah.
God. So yeah, that was like that through the entire movie. The Carrie-O was the best thing about this movie. His acting is the only one that's worth mentioning, really.
Yeah.
And I remember that classroom where he's before you knew who he is. I mean, he's a professor, but before you knew he's like the cult member or whatever, the leader. Like there's a petition on campus to get him fired because he's teaching the classics.
Yeah.
That just tells you, just that whole. See, this movie's going to be, not to go too deep down that path, but it's going to be something I'm completely opposed to as being somebody who likes traditional things and whatnot, right?
I had forgot about that. Like, yeah, you shouldn't be teaching the classics because they were all written by men. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. And they say that too, bro. It's just real. I mean, I don't know.
Whatever.
Not to beat a dead horse too much down that path, but I'm just going to go with the 0 rating as well. I think that's all that needs to be said anymore for me about this movie. If I say any more,
you're gonna get us kicked off YouTube, Smoke. That's enough. Well, I think we have hit a new low here officially with 2 zeros and a half a star. We are sitting at 0.17, 0.1 stars out of 5. So I think we have officially hit the low. It'll be interesting. I think we should make sure that Donnie and Will watch this just to see what they say about it and see if it changes that between now and say the anniversary show or something like that. Because boy, what I'm sorry that I delivered y'all a lump of coal here for Christmas. I'm sorry. I mean, I didn't.
Mr. Krampus,
I had.
You basically beat me and put me in a sack and drug me off to hell like Krampus rather than the coal.
I mean, I had such a low bar, and it was even lower than that. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, surely there's got to be something here. No, there's not.
Yeah, this is one of those movies, like you said. I know you try to find the silver lining in any movie, and sometimes it's just it's got a cool credit sequence, right? It's been a couple movies.
Actually, you know what? This did kind of have the cool title card. I'll give you that. Like that font and everything. Would
they have the original Black Christmas font? Like the old English type font, or no?
Yeah, but I don't know if it was exactly the same, but if it wasn't, it was damn close. It had to be. Like I'd have to go back and look to compare it, but that's it. That if literally that's all you can say about it, that's pretty bad. All right.
That and Carrie-O was, but I mean the lines he was given was kind of but I mean he carried him out just fine,
Just everything about it. No, forget, like I said, whether you agree or disagree with the messaging. It's just like, just everything about it's just so bad. The acting sucks. The writing sucks. The action sequences suck. Most of what they do and the way they react to things don't make any goddamn sense. Like the whole black magic thing is just like, oh, we had to have some clever way to bring this all together. It sucks. Everything sucks. You know what? Life sucks. And Christmas sucks. Fuck everything.
This is the patriarchy.
Yeah. So anyways, there's your Christmas.
Nobody went to the supernatural, not to keep going on about this movie. They didn't even need the supernatural element.
No.
Wouldn't it have made, again, it would have made their message stronger if they just said, this is how men are. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
You're giving them an out with the supernatural thing, sort of.
They were trying to make it more horror because there's hardly horror in it to begin with.
You're right. Yeah, maybe. Maybe there's some of that. Yeah. There we go. Well, look, we're bound to have. I think one of y'all mentioned something about. I thought Crapsterpiece was dead. Well,
yeah. That on the group chat.
Look, this is proof. This is proof, Smoke, that it's going to rear its ugly head every once in a while, right?
Yep.
Whether we like it or not.
Drop some bombs.
On the regular shit.
On the regular.
Yeah. So Donnie's not here to give his connections from the crypt, but we're going to toss it to you, Tiana.
So for a movie that was very bland and hardly had shit in it, there's a whopping 27 deaths in this movie.
Yeah,
probably mostly at the end, right?
Well, yeah, because I think there's about 12. There's still actually 12 that are killed before the whole bunch of the people, burned in the.
Yeah.
And if you think about the movie as a whole, I can believe that, but you just don't. Basically, you don't see it, so it's just like, yeah, it happens, but it doesn't. It's weird.
You have a movie that has a body count of, what was it, 26?
27.
And you hardly have any blood in this movie.
Yeah, and this keeps up the recent tradition of like these movies having a high body count in a movie you wouldn't think has a high body count. Back in November when we watched Them from 1954, it had 50. It had 50 deaths in that movie, but you wouldn't think of that movie for a high body count. But there you go.
Yeah.
This has. Oh, you'll love this. Both of y'all will love this. This has the exact same body count as Terrifier 3. 27. That is beautiful.
Really felt it in that movie, though.
Yeah. Oh, you feel it all right. All right, so that'll lead us to. Let's talk about the kill reel.
Highlight 2.
All right, this is where I mentioned the rat, the traitor to the sorority sisters, Helena. When I guess King Monster guy, whatever the fuck he was, I guess he was the executioner. There was one guy that was, they're all wearing like these Doctor Doom masks, but then there's one guy that's like, he's extra badass. He walks in and just walks straight up to her and snaps her neck. I think that was the best kill because that's about the only one you truly see, really, right?
Yeah.
Other than the icicle girl, but that sucked. And then that one frat guy gets a knife to the head. That one's not horrible, but I think that's the only one you truly see on the screen where like dude just walks up and just snap, turns her head sideways. So it's not a great one, but I think that's, symbolizes a not great movie. So that's your highlight kill. So Smoke, we'll leave it with you.
Gore score.
I don't know. There was pretty much no blood in the icicle scene, right? No,
a little bit, not much. Little.
Maybe just a slight little bit, yeah. Was there any in the... I mean, there wasn't much. I can't believe... I feel like there's even less blood than the PG-13. I think it could have almost went with a PG on this thing. Where was... I don't know.
There might have been more true gore and violence in Gremlins.
In
some ways,
What? And speaking of that, I don't know what I gave Gremlins for a gore score. Oh wait, or do we do it on? Yeah,
you gave that a 4.
Okay.
Which is the total opposite. Total opposite of Christmas Cruelty, by the way. That's the first official 10X. That's off the charts, right? So this is the opposite direction of that. So.
Oh yeah. This is a 2.
Yeah,
it is less gore, less violence and gore, I think, than Gremlins. Even.
Yeah, I mean because there's some stuff there, and you see the girl break her neck and all that. So there is some stuff there. Yeah. The dude takes a knife to the head. There are moments, but like, they're just so quick and everything. It's that cheap ass PG-13 type gore, So done.
And even that might be pushing it because I mean, if this was the violence score, that'd probably be more. But it's the gore score, so technically there's no gore in this movie, not gore,
Yeah.
But I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and just kind of put in violence.
Well, there was the ink
level of violence.
There was the bust of ink and everything, so I guess that's a little gore, right? Whatever the fuck that was. So. Well, there we go. That's a nice little. Like I said, coal in your stocking there for Christmas. So I apologize for that, but maybe onward and upward. Because next week, we're right before New Year's. So I guess the way we're going to ring in the New Year's is our latest Cult Corner. And we're going to be talking about a Peter Jackson classic? Question mark? Meet the Feebles. So this is going to be interesting to talk about this Muppet caper, right? Next week. So looking forward to that. It's a first time watch for me. So we'll see how that turns out. So, let me be the first to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, Kwanzaa, all that, everything that's going on right now. Have a safe, wonderful, happy holiday season. And we'll come to you next week, which is December 30th. So it's right before New Year's. So between now and New Year's, have a good time, eat tons of, junk food and cakes and pies and all that jazz that everybody has for Christmas. And, hopefully, Santa gives you what you want for Christmas as opposed to what I delivered to the Spook Show for this early Christmas bullshit today. So, for Will and Donnie, who couldn't be with us, Tiana, Professor Smoke, I'm Josh. We are the All-American Spook Show, and we'll talk to you next week.
Please replace the speaker on its rack when you're ready to leave. Failure to do so will damage both the speaker and your car. We'll be grateful, and so will the patrons who follow you.